Hello, students. So can I come to the discussion? So can I get a confirmation, students, in the chat box if you are able to see the question number 4, the mock number 4 in your screen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, students. So today, let's focus on the application of mock number 4, and already the mock number 5 is available for question practice. So you can start doing it, students, and just make sure you manage your time well and improve your confidence, students. Don't get demotivated if it is tough or not tough. It's all about experience. So mock 4 answers, let's focus on initially step by step on what we have to focus on. Now email, and this is given by Hendrix Jurgen. I think he's our CEO, if I'm not mistaken. And then to us, proposed bid for acquisition of smart art. Now, students, if you observe, this question is effectively continuation from the previous mock. And students, even mock 5 is a continuation from this mock only. So you may be aware that Smart Art is a caricature producer, and they are producing, if I'm not mistaken, personalized caricature for the people. So hi, firstly, thank you very much for your valuable time. The proposal, the business proposal with Smart Art has been going on for 2 months period, And I have shared you the insight of the business performance in reference material. So they have given the updates about the business performance in the reference material. So I have just gone through that, so I'll write down here. Performance update of Smart Art logistic service in the reference material. That is what they have effectively mentioned. And then students, you have to be very much concerned with something called the question requirement. Now, if you observe this very, very clearly and deeply, firstly, evaluate with reasons the commercial logic of acquiring smart art. So evaluation of the commercial logic of acquiring smart art, So in this case, they are effectively giving something called 50% only. And the second one is, if I'm not mistaken, recommend with a reason how can the management justify the increase in the share price in case there's acquisition of the smart art company. So justification, I'll write down here, recommend with justification on the increase in the share price in case of acquiring smart art. Again, students, in this case, effectively, they are giving how many percentage, students? 50%. So students, it's a little bit confusing, but only thing is you have to ensure that you frame it properly. So when I'm framing the answers, what did I understand from this statement is there will be a business combination. Because in the first stage, we are not working on a business combination. We are working on a revenue share perspective where we got 5% revenue share. Now, if you see here, recommend with justification increase in the share price. Now, increase in the share price, if you observe, students, that is how there will be an increase in the share price when there are announcements taking place like that. So students, if I'm not mistaken, let's go through the reference material more in detail so that you will understand the application very, very well. So if you observe the reference material here, they are saying, as you are aware that we have done a detailed analysis of the performance measurement of the business operations with smart art. So in the what can statement I'll write on here, performance measurement has been carried forward. That means they have taken a performance measurement has been taken forward. So they have just observed the performance that has taken forward in the business. we generally didn't have high expectation, but currently we are doing really well considering the financial and the business process as well. So positive remarks, if I'm not mistaken. The remarks are very much positive. So I'll write down here positive remarks for the business. So that is a good side of view. And they are also effectively stating that the sales are rapidly increasing for smart art caricature. And we have managed the delivery process well with motorbike contracts we have from the subcontractors in the market. So I'll write down here, sales are rising. Sales are rising. Sales are rising means there is an increase in the sales. And the other thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, is the motorbikes have been used using subcontractors, outsourcing elements. So that is one more factor that can be mentioned. Now, students, the next thing is further, Smart Art has currently increased the presence in the Roundland region. They have increased the presence in the Roundland region, where they are currently operating in more than 10 malls from the existing base. They have increased the numbers also. Also, they have used some of our warehouse to store the 3D printers, and they are also scaling well since generally the orders are online and there are very less need for the people with the stores as well. So that is also one more factor if I'm not mistaken. So in this case, what I can effectively say is, students, smart art is expanding. Smart art is expanding at the moment. There's a good expansion. And also, students, if I am not mistaken, even very practical, if I'm not mistaken, 3D printers are deployed. Deployed means you have kept it inside the warehouse of Daistruk. The warehouse of Daistruk, you have kept it, okay? And then, students, in simple English sentence, I can effectively say there are very good orders as well. So indirectly, they are saying, students, from the warehouse also, we can directly send the goods because website, online orders. So online orders, generally customers don't come to the retail store. So that is also one point of view at the moment. Then the next one is the board of Daistruk is considering to acquire the stake of Smart Art, and they assume it's a good option to diversify as well. So now only the real question comes in. Now, if you see the board of Daistruk, that is our company, students, now since we are seeing a potential, we believe since there's a potential, we believe on acquiring this industry. We believe on acquiring this venture. So that is what they are effectively stating there, that there is a good scope in this business, so we are going to do this as well. And then, students, if I'm not mistaken, further, based on the experience we have with Smart Art, we have understood they are not using their full potential for growth as well. So they are not using the full potential for growth as well, since they have more option to do on personalized gifts other than only caricature as well. They can focus on 3D printed card and so on, as well in order to increase the variety of supply. So there are chances to increase the business portfolio of goods. Therefore, there can be a very high increase in sales as well. They are telling that as well in the future. And the next thing is they are effectively stating also the NED, Mr. Karkat Ahmed Abbas, has stated there are chances as well of having an increase in share price if this news on acquisition goes in the market. Therefore, he has asked that we need to justify the change to the market as well. So there are concerns that the share price may increase as well if this news goes to the market. So that is one factor they are effectively saying at the moment. So students, now if you observe this, now the question is very practical. That is, they are saying that smart art is doing well in the business. Smart art is excellent in the operation. They are helping us also. They are using our warehouse also. And then our board is believing to acquire this company as well. And they're trying to expand the business also. And there are concerns that the share price may increase if this news goes to the market. So that is the part B requirement. But if you observe the part A, evaluation of commercial logic of acquiring smart art, commercial logic of acquiring smart art. Now let's come into the detailed analysis and the application of the commercial logic. Now students, if you observe, now if you see students, generally the acquisition of a company should result in something called a synergy. Result in a synergy. That is very, very practical. Now, in this case, students, the biggest question is this a synergy? Is this a synergy? Because that is the biggest question. Now, synergy means, students, it can be vertical integration, backward integration, so many things that can take place. But in the reality, is this a synergy or a complementary service? If I'm not mistaken, it's just a complementary service. Because if you observe, students, the dream, or if I'm not mistaken, the smart art business, effectively, students, is only in designing caricature. And if you see our business, we are just giving them the side support of delivering their goods to the intended customers. So at the moment, is this a synergy or a complementary service is one biggest question that needs to be asked, because that's a very, very important point of view. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, the next one that is very, very important is the usage of the warehouse. Now, currently they are using our warehouse for the supply of caricature, because there are certain regions where customers won't visit the store. They will just make the order online. So you can use the warehouse for the supply of the caricature as well. So that is also one good thing if you see, because our warehouse are being utilized for production in a small scale, and later it can become a large scale. That effectively can be considered as a synergy. But just giving a transport service, which I'm not mistaken, it is 2PL. I don't think, students, it will be a synergy. It is just a service only. And the next thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, the other thing is the biggest commercial logic challenge that we are facing is we are not specialized designers. That is one thing. We are not specialized. We are not specialized designer. We are not specialized what, students? We are not specialized designers. I believe that point is very, very clear for you all. We are not specialized designers. I believe everyone has got that point.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, do we have the required experience? Do we have the required experience to continue the business after 100% acquisition? To continue the business after 100% acquisition, because you have to ask some question. Is it possible? And the other biggest thing is, if I'm not mistaken, is this is a new venture in simple language. So it's a new venture with growth, It's not a well-established venture, new venture with growth. Therefore, we need to retain the key staffs. Correct, no, students? We need to retain the key staffs.
Yes,
Since
sir.
it is essential. It is essential since we need their knowledge to operate. We need their knowledge to operate. So that is also one more commercial logic that is effectively needed, if I'm not mistaken. So students, if you observe in this case, it's a very, very subjective question. In simple language, we cannot say it's a synergy. We can say it's a diversification, if I'm not mistaken. Diversification of the business, considering the main business of logistics. Main business of logistics. So this is one factor that everyone needs to ensure that you are vitally strong with the thinking students. Because when we go with the commercial logic, what does the majority do is they write suitability, feasibility, acceptability, which is a wrong answer now. The reason is examiner is very educated and the examiner will never make the student pass where they follow framework-based answers. Framework-based answers means you follow a certain template and you just dump the certain template in the examination, or you just reproduce the certain template once again. So that is not generally accepted by the examiner. So students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this commercial logic on acquiring the smart art business venture? Commercial logic on acquiring the smart art business venture, because it should be very practical. Thank you. So students, now what I'm going to do now is I'll just go through the answer for this so that it will be very, very, very easy. And then I will come to the second one. Second one is a technical area. I have to guide you as well. So before that, students, let's write down the answer for the question. Answer for mock 4. So students, I'll write down the format email to Henrik Jerding from the finance manager. Subject response on the commercial logic of the acquisition and the share price increase. Date 21st April 2023. Okay, students, let's start writing a small. As requested, the response on the commercial logic of acquiring smart art, comma, and also the increase in the share price is provided in the below explanations. Now, students, let's start continuing this more in detail, more practically as well, so that you will understand the application very, very well. So students, let's start continuing this more in detail. So I'll write down here, students, the commercial logic of acquiring smart art. Is generally a company acquires another entity for inorganic growth. Therefore, some acquisitions results in a synergy where the business operation and the productivity increases. Business operation and the productivity increases. That is one important point there. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, I will further continue so that it will be to understand. Further, we need to ensure that the company is able to have a better understanding behind the intention of the acquisition. Therefore, the shareholders will be satisfied with the management decision. In the case of acquiring whom students smart art, the biggest question that arises is whether is this acquisition resulting in what students? In a synergy. Therefore, when a detailed review is considered, the business will be able to understand that the company is very much concerned of complementary services rather than a strategic investment. Since in this case, Daistruk is only providing 2PL service where only transport is provided. Only transport is what students provided. So that is the point of view there. So can I get a confirmation, students? So it's mostly a complementary service. It's not more towards a business combination. It's more towards a complementary service. And I believe that is very clear for the students here. I believe that's very clear.
Sir.
So I'm going to continue this more in detail so that you will understand it more clearly and more easily as well. So I'll also make sure one more factor that can be identified in the current business process is the company is able to share this with smart art. Example, the warehouse is provided to operate a 3D printer. To operate a 3D printer. Therefore, in that case, the company will be able to have a better understanding of the resource utilization. Therefore, some partial synergy can be considered. in the case if the business has a plan to increase the use of warehouse. Therefore, it is a great exposure for the business. That is one more factor, students. Now, the other one is the biggest issue with the acquisition is, do we have the skill set and the experience to manage smart art? Since we are completely in a different business sector, therefore, we need to ensure a proper analysis, since after 100% acquisition, there are chances where the management may take decisions, but it is better to continue the company smart art as an independent business sector. Students, I believe that is also very clear for you all at the moment, because if we come and micromanage, then I think we may lose a lot of business, if I'm not mistaken. Finally, the biggest concern is the loss of key staffs. Since we are not aware of the business model well, we need to ensure the web designers, the digital marketers should be retained in the company. Therefore, this can eventually help the business ongoing concern. Therefore, this acquisition is generally a business diversification. Business what? Diversification. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this answer? Now, students, the biggest mistake that students make is they write for every answer suitability, acceptability, feasibility. But in the new latest answer, students, it's not like that, students. It has changed a lot. It has changed a lot. And they want the students to think practically and respond practically to the situation rather than just giving points, students. So just ensure that you have that practical ability skills at the end of the day. And then, students, if I'm not mistaken, recommend with justification an increase in the share price of acquiring smart art. Now, generally, students, in the examiners, one of the favorite area he tests in the examination is known as something called efficient market hypothesis. So efficient market hypothesis is one of the favorite area that the examiner tests. Now, students, there are something like this: fact, hypothesis, and then we have something called a theory, and there is something called a law. Okay, so this is the process that happens. So fact means reason behind a behavior. Now, certain people always come late to office. So it's a fact. This person will come to office late. It's a fact. Hypothesis means, students, the judgments you make. The judgments you make. This person is coming to the office late because of traffic. That is the judgment you make. And then the theory you derive is you observe many hypotheses. He's coming late because of traffic, because of sending kids to the children, so many variables. And you come with a theory. If the traffic is less, he can come early. That is a theory. Now, if you see, law means when the theory is confirmed, it becomes a law. That means only traffic is the reason this person is coming late. So traffic has a direct relationship with latecomers. But if you see lethargic, this person is very much lethargic to come to office on time. So what happens is, students, he is lazy. He is lazy. So effectively, students, this theory cannot become a law because the theory has other contradictions. Now, if you see, students, a basic application of a fact is the basic application of a fact is, students, apple will fall from the tree. One day, definitely the apple will fall from the tree one day. Okay. Now, students, the judgment you think why it is falling, maybe because of the wind, maybe because of a bird going, maybe because of, if I'm not mistaken, gravity, something like that. So many variables are there. Theory is you come to a conclusion that majority happens because of gravity. That is the truth. Okay, and finally it becomes a law because gravity is the dominating force that is making the apple to fall. So that is only known as gravity. So students, hypothesis, efficient market hypothesis means, is that a theory or it's a judgment? It's a judgment, how the market goes up and down. Now we say bull market, we say bear market. Now actually it's a hypothesis based on the past experience and the guesses what is done. So students, in stock market, there is something called hypothesis, judgments. Now students, if you observe, if the NPV in the future is going to go up, then the judgment from the majority of the market will be share market price. Will what, students? Increase. That's what they will effectively say. And another effective calculation, what I can say is cost of equity. Cost of equity is going down. It's going down. That means the shareholders are not preferring to go for a dividend. They are saying, no problem, you reinvest our money. Now, if the shareholders are happy by reinvestment, again, the market price will increase, because what's going to happen is the required rate of return is very less for the organization from the shareholders and the borrowers. So effectively, the company will effectively have a lot of retained funds that will also increase the market price. So vice versa, there is a negative things, the prices will go up. So this, we call it as market information. This is called as what, students? Market information. So market information equals share price. That is the theory of efficient market hypothesis. So you can control the stock market by managing the media. You can give lies to the media. And if the media is publishing the lies, and if they were able to make the people, that means the information has been successfully embedded into the people's mind. So students, this is only known as the market information and the share price. I believe everyone has got this point of view very clearly. Can I get a confirmation in the chat box, students, if you are fine with the understanding of this basic concept? Because anyway, I will do that in detail. But understand this hypothesis is just an understanding judgment behind the fact. Just the understanding behind the judgment behind the fact. We do it for the research writing purpose. Now, students, let's come more closer in detail so that you will understand what we can do next in order to increase the valuation of our business. Now, in this, we have something called strong form market. Strong form market is the best market we can say. All informations are available. All informations are available, including future data, Now, students, in real life, we don't have something called strong form market because confidential information is always not mentioned. Now, if you see Chennai Super Kings, if MS Dhoni is going to retire in this season, the valuation may reduce. So that means they will never tell that secrets to the market. They will always preserve that because something wrong happens. Some information goes in a negative side. The market price can reduce based on the judgmental review. We effectively say qualitative factors. Then students, this is the most common thing. We call it as semi-strong market. Semi-strong market means, students, informations are available. Informations are available for decision making. Not all, but informations are available for decision making. You know about the future, but not 100%, but all informations are available for decision making, not confidential internal data. And this is also a common market. We call it as the weak form market. Now, weak form market means only financial statements are there. Only financial statements are there. You make the business decision based on historical valuation. Based on what, students? Historical valuation. Historical valuation. I believe that this is very, very clear for you all at the moment. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you were able to understand this properly, students?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, students, that is the theory behind that. Now, if you observe the case study, let's come to our case study. Now, in this case study, they are saying there are chances that there can be an increase in the share price. Maybe yes. The reason behind this, in case if I say smart design is having a growth, Now they are saying it's having a growth. So there are chances this company can give you positive NPV as well. So many judges in the market will effectively say that's good for the organization. And another thing is diversification as well. So it's a diversification and it's giving an NPV. So again, there is a chance that the share price may effectively go up based on that decision they make. So that may be the rationale behind that. But the biggest issue is there are risks as well because we don't know how it will work. Because we are just concerned about the NPV. We don't know how it will work because no experience. So sometimes you can give a false statement to the market and effectively you can cheat the shareholders as well. So in that particular situation, you have to disclose a prudential data. That means you should not tell an optimistic data. It should be a prudential data, should be presented to the market, I believe that it is very, very, very practical and very, very, very clear for you all. So students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with these explanatory notes, what I have mentioned? But in the examination, this explanation, which is in the black color ink, is vitally important because you have to be technically strong and then you have to apply for certain questions. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this efficient market hypothesis section of note? Because that is practically important for the student to make sure that he is able to score very well in the exams. I am assuming that everyone is fine. So quickly, I'm going for the part B of the question. And I'll just mention here reasons behind the rise in the share price based on this acquisition decision. Based on this acquisition decision. So let's start working on this step by step. In an efficient market, this is a direct note I have taken from the past answers. You can use it for reference. The efficient market share price reflect all information in an unbiased manner. Now, the question arises is, in real life, generally informations are what, students? Biased. Microsoft will always tell a positive review only, because even if you go through any financial statements in the management commentary, you will always get biased statements only. Anyone will never say bad about their venture, what they are operating. So just make sure, students, that is also very clear. Share price and the implication of the movement in the share price are the rationale behind collective opinions about the future cash flow. Therefore, a positive movement in the cash flow will effectively increase the share price. Increase the share price. While a negative movement in the cash may reduce the share price. Students, I believe that you are very clear with this. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? So that is what is essential to understand. And this is a technical note, students. And I was able to derive this note from a past paper answer so that you will be easily attracting the examiner with the best notes, whatever you can do on your examination. Now, students, I'll just continue this sentence step by step. There are generally three forms of the market. Strong form, where all information reflects unbiased data and perfectly correct, perfectly accurate, including all the confidential data as well. Example, retirement of a key managerial personnel disclosed very early. Now, students, I'm going to continue more in detail so that you will understand it practically and well. The second form is the most common form in the market, which is the semi-strong form. In general, there is a understanding that all informations that are relevant is available in the market. And the confidential informations are not available. And the final form is the weak form. Only the historical information is available. And there are no other indications. Therefore, this is a very hard market to invest. Full stop. Students, I believe that you got this point of view very, very well. Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me, students. But if you are fine with this, students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If you are fine with this, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, students, let's come to the application now. Application means the writing for the answer for this situation. In this situation, for Daistruk, the price of the shares may increase since smart art is effectively a good business venture, a good business what students venture, where there is high growth as well. High growth as well. Therefore, in the market sentiment, the majority may believe this venture can create a positive cash flow. Therefore, the price may increase. However, it is the duty of the management to make sure formal communication are provided with, if I'm not mistaken, I'll say proper and clear messages. Example, the risk of the project needs to be communicated, and only a prudential information should be revealed to the market. Students, I believe this is very clear for you all at the moment. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with this? So this is the real rationale behind the increase or decrease in the market price, students. So get it down clearly, students. And once again, students, I have to give you that indication. It's not about how much long your answers are. It's all about how much relevant your answers are. Because students, as a standard, I have to say, now, if they mention 10% means you can write in our class format, one paragraph you can write. So if they say 50%, the standard is only 5 paragraphs, but if the data is sufficient enough, you can complete it with that as well. So this is what is important. Yes, we have to write it the efficient market theory very detailed. Not only here, and even if you see everywhere, you have to write the theory very, very precisely, but very detailed. Like the commercial logic I have explained about inorganic growth. Now, inorganic growth is not a theory, I can say, it's just a statement we are writing here. Because the statements are very important in formal business communication, if I'm not mistaken. And students, I did a small research about, I did my internal audit on my teaching. I have to be very transparent, students. Whatever done in the class is only repeated in the examination. That is the truth I have to say. Not in a biased way, but I have to say, but certain students are not clearing. Maybe they are doing excess level of research. That may be one factor. Because you can't memorize whatever we do in the class, but the structure what we do in the class is what is expected by the examiner for a full marks, the writing style, the way we think, the thinking pattern. So if you are doing more research, be very, very careful whether you are in the right location and never memorize, but observe the identification of this. So students, this is the answer for the mock number 4. And students, I just want to guide you also, if I'm not mistaken, students, with the other factors. So I'll just take you to the classroom. So students, I believe the classroom is visible. I can see that. So if you observe, students, the mock number 5, if you observe, I'll just guide you how you have to do. There is a link. You can take your time, but my suggestion is better to do it by tomorrow and give it for marking. It will be very easy for me and you as well. So if you observe, when you click the link, students, it will directly take you to a website where you have to give your name, you have to give your last name and your email address. And students, the reference material will be a PDF document, which you have to click separately, and then you can view that as well. So this is the examination platform. It's a time mock. That means within 60 minutes, it will automatically give the answers to the system. Don't worry, students, whatever you do, even if it has a power cut, even your battery low, whatever happens, the system will record it. And you need not worry, it will directly be in the database. So it's a real-time recording system. So this is the digital mock number 5. And then let's start with the mock marathon, because it's very, very important we practice mocks and get the exposure-based learning, students. It's very important. And while we practice the mocks, I will do the theory areas also on the co-activities. And just remember, students, it's not memorizing. It's all about structured writing. And I always shared you 3 documents, and I just make sure the students are aware about that. Now, students, if you go, you have reference guide, right? In this, students, you see, I have already given you some documents. If I have also emailed it to you and also WhatsApped it to you. You can go through these documents, students. We have the blueprint, the co-activities mapped. So these are excessively important for the students to pass this examination without any issues at the end. So I'll come for the one-to-one discussion so that it will be very easy. So I'll start from Ms. Anitra. Ms. Anitra, any questions you have for the session?
No, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Mr. Anson, any questions you have for the session?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Anushka, any questions you have for the session?
Yes, sir. It's not directly related to mock 4, sir, but I
Okay.
have a doubt, sir.
Yes.
The last time you told me that we made an investment in the 3,000 straddle carriers, sir, but it's not been reflected in our financial statements. So it's a material investment. Shouldn't it be like reflected in our statements, sir?
I think I discussed in our recordings. The reason here, the reason why they have not recorded that was I think it's an incomplete statement. It's an incomplete record. I think it was there in our recording. We went through that in the ratio class because that was not mentioned because we had the growth analysis calculation specifically on the assets. And as you told, it is correct. It is not reflected in the accounts. Maybe the case writer would have ignored it. That is one chance. Or the second thing is maybe there is an error, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe there would have been expensed that into that. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ifzal, any questions for the day?
No, thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Aquilin, any questions for the day?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ashish Paul, any questions for the day?
Sir, one question.
Yes, please.
So does that come only from acquiring another company to grow? So it's like a huge growth.
Can you repeat it, Mr. Ashish, because your voice was breaking when you were telling the first part.
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned inorganic growth earlier in
Yeah.
the mock.
Yeah.
So could you explain the difference, like exactly what is organic and inorganic?
Organic growth is you are growing business from your retained earnings only. That means your business is growing based on the profits you make from the business. Let's assume you have a business, you make money from that business and you grow, like Rajagiri is growing. But inorganic growth is like Reliance is growing. Reliance, what they do is they acquire another business and they grow. That is only known as inorganic growth. Is that
Okay,
fine?
so acquiring another business means that is inorganic growth for the company.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Cleopatra, any questions for the day?
Yes, sir. I wanted to find out that in writing our mock exams, do you want us to structure it the way that you did, where we write what did I understand? And
thank you
then,
very much. Yeah, thank you very much for reminding that. Excellent. I want the students to write like what we do because the exams are very judgmental. Correct, no students, if I'm not mistaken. So my suggestion is please have a what did I understand statement, because one of the biggest mistake now I realize from the students are they do not have any issues with the theory. They do not have any issues with the understanding. They have a very huge issues with the reading comprehension. Excellent, Cleopatra. That is what is important, not only for the current mock, for all the mocks what we do. And even in the examination day, if you can write that statements in the answer plan, and then students, if you are able to construct the answer, the possibilities of passing is very high because the examiner will have a clarity behind your judgments. That is an excellent thing, Cleopatra, for telling that. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students, if you understood that what did I understand statement? Because what did I understand statement is very, very critical, because even as a teacher, I will understand your issues on reading, because now the children are used to watch videos and learn. So the biggest problem is the examinations are not a video recorded examination. They won't give you a video and they may not ask you a question. They will be still making the student to write the answers. So thanks again. Thank you, students. Thanks, Cleopatra. Any other questions, Cleopatra?
no, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Luke, any questions for the day?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Koza, any questions for the day?
No, thank you.
Mr. Nelum, any questions for the day?
No, sir. But regarding this justification of share price increase, now since we don't have like what is the profitability of this smart art, and what is the turnover and what is the capital? So isn't it very difficult to justify the increase in the share price?
You're correct. Because what you are saying is 100% correct, Mr. Nelum. The reason is it's very, very difficult. What you told is perfectly practical in the finance person. But if you see, Mr. Nelum, the shareholders are not finance people. Shareholders are investors. So what happens is, for each and every news, they are only bothered of money. So what you told, it can be added in this case. So I'll write down here, financial modeling can be presented. Correct, no, Mr. Nelum, if I'm not mistaken. Yes or no?
Yes.
Financial modeling can be presented. So I'll write down here, financial modeling can be presented, and forecast can be explained as well. Forecast can be explained as well. So this is perfectly correct, and I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Nirosh, any questions for the day? Mr. Nirosh, any questions? No. Miss Priscilla, any questions for the day? Thank you. Mr. Ranganathan, any questions today?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So students, good luck with your question practice. Please write the "what did I understand" statement. Mark my words, you will easily pass this examination by improvement on a continuous basis. So all the best, students. See you on the Wednesday class. Take care, students.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.